3 News Now this week.
For about 6 months, standing water can be found in parts of Pottawattamie County, even though the initial floods are seemingly washed away.
So this will be the third go-around.
Bob Hansen's been on his family property for decades in the Honey Creek area. He says it's hard to believe they have to worry about rising waters again.
I think it's just the frustration of it to get back in and get everything kind of halfway back in order and cleaned up, and now you got to do it again and you don't know how much to move out, how much to leave.
Pottawattamie County and Iowa officials want people to be prepared to move out of the increased flood risk area. In about a week's time, they anticipate the Missouri rising 4.5 feet and say waters could go over Interstate 29 overnight. Heavy rains to the north played a part in the greater releases. Pot County Emergency Management Director Doug Reed says they're still standing water because they still haven't been able to get to some levees that were compromised months ago for repairs.
We just want everybody to be on high alert. The areas that we typically see flood from the Missouri River can be expected to flood again. And so we know we're going to have roads, especially in the northwest part of the county, for sure, be inundated again, cutting off access to residential properties and other areas and for commuting traffic.
Residents say one way they're preparing is with these steel poles here on 145th Street. They say they'll know where the road is because of the markers if water comes over it, so they don't end up sliding off into the ditch. Hansen says they couldn't plant a crop this year, and neither could many of their neighbors.
What are you going to do? Just sell your land and quit? I mean, there's nothing you can do. You just keep on going and hope that next year, you know, the weather's got to turn around and change.
Reporting in Pottawattamie County, Jake Wazikowski, 3 News Now.
In July of this year, St. Francis Ministries won a bid to take over the child welfare system in Douglas and Sarpy counties. St. Francis promised to do the job for 60% less money than the previous contractor, Promise Ship.
So I worry that the way that you cut corners and the way that you save money is by having a worker take on more cases than a human being can feasibly manage.
We spoke with Promise Ship's CEO and President Ron Zakowski a couple weeks ago. He stated that he has a hard time believing St. Francis can do a good job with $144 million less in their budget.
The only way you make this happen, and the only way you don't run a huge deficit, is that you're going to have to reduce services to kids and families.
But St. Francis continuously assures that their work will be up to par. Regardless, Promise Ship is legally challenging the state's decision. And in the midst of the legal battle, St. Francis is set to start the transition of child welfare cases 3 months early. Senator Sarah Howard says even though it's better to transition as smooth as possible, this decision doesn't make sense to her.
When they're transitioning child welfare management to a new contractor, so from Promise Ship to St. Francis, part of their statutory obligations is to create a readiness assessment.
Senator Howard says that this readiness assessment has not been completed.
What doesn't make sense to me is starting that transition before the readiness assessment is complete.
In a statement from DHHS Chief Executive Officer Danette Smith, she says in part that the case transfer will not begin until the safety measures of the readiness review are met. If the cases are transferred early, that doesn't necessarily mean the previous employees that worked on those cases will transition contractors as well.
What we're not seeing is St. Francis being able to hire Promise Ship workers. So what you hear from Promise Ship is that 33 of their workers have left. Not one of them has moved over to St. Francis.
St. Francis has stated they are currently interviewing positions and are hopeful Promise Ship employees will come and work for them. Promise Ship has also stated they will be fully cooperating with DHHS to implement their transition plan.
The number one focus has to be what would provide the most stability for this family.
Reporting in Omaha, Rudolph Sinaida, 3 News Now.
Hours after his client and Omaha City Council member Vinnie Palermo pleaded guilty in federal court to 3 misdemeanors, James Martin Davis says his client has everything paid off, albeit later than he should have.
It's not really a big deal. This happens all the time. And unfortunately, if you don't file on time, even though you do file later, you still fail to file.
Palermo failed to pay federal income taxes in years 2012, 2013, and 2014, years in which he earned nearly $500,000 combined. Davis says Palermo was just starting his business at the time and was confused about the tax system. He has since paid those taxes off late a few years ago, but was still short around $21,000. He says everything now has been paid off.
It's been remedied. 2 years ago or three years ago, he filed the returns, and then now he's paid whatever they say that he owes.
The 3 counts carry a max sentence of 3 years in jail. Davis thinks his client should get probation.
In these cases, very seldom does somebody get jail time. The concern is that they have to set an example for all those people out there.
In the heart of the flood, right where I'm standing right now, would have been way underwater. It got up to about the roof of this first floor. The people that work here at this location moved back in a month ago, but now there's a chance that flooding could come back to this part of southwestern Iowa.
I mean, you have people that are your diehard green, your diehard red. We obviously bleed green here.
The AgriVision equipment location in Pacific Junction is a one-stop shop for all things John Deere. Well, that and 98 inches of water.
It's gutted up to where it was probably just above these windows over here. It almost made it to the second story.
The showroom was open and machinery came back a month ago, but the full reno is now on hold.
We have not moved much back out here due to the risk and the uncertainty. And then it looks like the water's possibly coming up again this week.
They could be at risk as this water moves in, so we're trying to keep an eye on that.
This AgriVision branch is one of 2 businesses in the updated flood path. Larry Hurst, the director of the Mills County Emergency Management Association, told me that as of now, water's projecting at 29.4 feet at the Plattsmouth Bridge.
We have water coming through that breach. We don't know for sure when it started. That water will inundate the crop area in and around there.
Mills County has 2 levees that are both repaired. One breach is still open as a way to keep water moving through if needed. But as Gavin's Point ups its release to 80,000 cubic feet per second for the first time in months, the new levees will be put to the test.
We don't even know what the river level is going to be once they get to 80,000 for us down here. If the river got too high, it could have an effect on that scoured area, the unknown.
Back at the AgriVision location, it's business as usual. But no one knows for sure what the showroom floor will look like come Friday.
I am a little worried. I think we didn't know what to expect in March. We were supposed to have minimal flooding. So at this point, I think anything's possible.
Reporting in Mills County, Iowa, Phil Bergman, 3 News Now.
Controversial Club Omaha owner Shane Harrington tells the Liquor Control Commission he's changed and will make changes to Club Omaha to get a license for his new business. The Hustler Club, set to open in December right next door, will be a bikini bar where rehab used to be at 120th and West Center. The commission votes 2-0 to approve a liquor license.
I think I finally earned their respect in a sense. Hopefully growing up and getting to where I am today has impress them enough that they know I'm a worthy adversary, that they know that I wasn't going to quit.
Club Omaha is a private business with fully nude dancers where members can bring their own alcohol. Harrington has sued the LCC and City of Omaha because they believe the law says that isn't allowed.
One of my reasons for doing this is because I think, Mr. Harrington, based on your reputation, there probably is a need for us to put a license so we can come in and see what's going on.
Harrington agreed not to allow alcohol at Club Omaha and start letting police in to make sure there's no illegal activity. Also, there won't be a door connecting the businesses. Harrington says he'll probably lose some money because there won't be as many Club Omaha members, but he's willing to make the sacrifice.
Both sides had to give, and I had to be willing to give a little bit more up front, but did I really give more? I mean, they gave me a liquor license. I'm able to open a new establishment. My business is continuing to grow, so it was a tough negotiation. I think we both won.
Commissioners also told Harrington he better not get any citations within the first year of business. He also agreed to drop all the lawsuits filed against the City of Omaha and the LCC. Reporting from 120th and Center, Jake Wazakowski, 3 News Now.
I don't like night games. I'm ready to get it going in the morning and have some time at home after the game and be rested on Sunday. I do like night games from the standpoint that our fans are unbelievable. we'll play when they tell us we're going to play, and I'll get sleep later.
Nebraska in the middle of a 3-week stretch of night games with Illinois on the docket Saturday. Although Scott Frost still trying to earn that first road win, the foundation he's laying so far in Lincoln being felt by his Husker players.
I think it's a family culture. You know, coaches have an open door policy where you can come right in and talk to them. You know, they bring their families around, they bring their kids around, everything like that. So I feel like if you can trust your coaches, trust your players, and have that like family bond relationship, I think your team's going to be awesome because you trust one another, you love one another. You just don't say it, you actually mean it. I've never seen a coaching staff like this before where, you know, you got the D-line coach talking to a wide receiver coach that they love each other and everything like that. I think everybody's real close, and I think the players can see that and the players feed off of it.
7 p.m. start Saturday in Champaign on BTN.
From the moment they're born, children are learning through observing, playing, and interacting.
The majority of brain development happens in the years 0 to 5.
And that's why quality education before kindergarten is important. According to a report by Council for a Strong America, less than 15% of at-risk children under 3 years old in Nebraska have access to high-quality early childhood programs. Without it, children may end up falling behind, feeling discouraged, failing out, or even ending up behind bars.
So if a student is building quality relationships at an early age and engaging in a positive way with learning, that'll stick with them through early education, middle education, higher education, which is less likely for kids to disengage and drop out, which has a whole host of negative impacts for any community.
What creates the gap in quality early learning is the price tag and the approach teachers take. Josh Gilman with Kids Can Community Centers say some care facilities don't have access to quality childcare backed by research and curriculum proven to work. And to bridge the divide, the study points to higher parent involvement.
Child care centers should be partnering with parents, providing information on ways they can extend learning into the home and into the world, in the grocery store, in a car ride, or any sort of opportunity they have.
Council for a Strong America says parent engagement can set a child up for success both in and out of the classroom. Nebraska is already taking steps to bring effective education to all classrooms with their Step Up to Quality program.
Centers are able to enroll and get that coaching and support from the state to really ensure there's quality.
Hoping that by kindergarten, all children feel prepared and on track. Reporting in Omaha, Corinne Hafuda, 3 News Now.
Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has issued out a disaster proclamation for Pottawattamie, Mills, Harrison, and Fremont counties. I spoke with 2 of the emergency manager directors, both in Pottawattamie County and here in Mills County, and they say, unfortunately, the flooding is expected to get worse before it gets better.
The third round of flooding is here.
So it's not going to be like a flash flood mad rush kind of an event.
Meaning the water will come slowly but surely. In Pottawattamie County around noon Wednesday, officials were alerted of breaches in their levee systems.
So earlier this afternoon we had 2 breaches in our flood protection systems up north of Council Bluffs, up around the Honey Creek area.
These breaches can happen for a number of reasons. The flooding is expected to happen in about the same areas as the March flooding.
Unfortunately, they're kind of used to this too, and they know, how their property kind of gets affected and some of the things that they need to do.
If you've been affected by the flooding since March and see water creeping up in your neighborhood, officials do recommend evacuations.
If water starts to come up and getting close to their property, and then they should go ahead and leave if they need to be in a safer area. Because once we lose these roads, and they can't get out and it's difficult for us to get in, that can be a problem in case we have an emergency or something like that.
Pottawattamie County has experienced new damage to their water drainage systems, and Mills County is still recovering from a previously damaged levee. They say this is not new to them and they are bracing.
Basically, we had to evacuate. We had to get people out on that secondary occurrence for water. This is a little bit different because it's only coming in one source.
Both counties have issued out recommended evacuations, but officials say use your best judgment.
Follow DOT's posted detour instructions and don't rely on your GPS.
The river is expected to crest Friday morning and slowly start to recede by the end of this week.
Make sure that you are signed up for your county's emergency alert system so you stay up to date on all alerts. You can find more information on those emergency alert systems on our website at 3newsnow.com. Reporting live from Mills County, Rudo Sinaida, 3 News Now.
By the time this story is over, there's a good chance you might receive a robocall. So thanks to that issue, agencies on state and federal levels are working together to try to slow down that problem. Two things are guaranteed in life: death and taxes. But a third item may soon be added to the list.
For more information on your case, please call our investigation department immediately.
That would be robocalls. And in August, people in Nebraska received a bunch of them.
Nebraskans have been bombarded with these robocalls, 17 million in the last month alone.
That issue is what brought Chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai, to rural Nebraska to discuss the problem.
Robocalls are an annoyance at best, and they're a scam at worst. And unfortunately, many Americans are scammed out of their hard-earned dollars each and every year.
Pai says the FCC has worked with phone companies to block those calls. They've also been finding those making the robocalls.
We've imposed or proposed over $250 million in fines. We essentially want to make it less profitable for these scam artists to stay in business.
But with many of those robocalls coming from places far away from Nebraska, would a fine really be effective? That's the task federal regulators are continuing to address.
In terms of developing the relationships at the international level with law enforcement in India or law enforcement in some other country, so that when they find those call centers, they can leverage those relationships to hold those perpetrators accountable.
But the greatest tool in all of this may be education, warning people what to look out for so they don't fall victim. If you get a robocall, don't answer it. If you do answer it, don't engage with the caller, as that can lead to even more calls. And don't share any personal information.
We're pulling out all the stops from the FCC. We want to make sure that when consumers get calls on their phones, they can once again answer that phone with confidence.
In Omaha, John Madden, 3 News Now.
It might be an afternoon on a Wednesday, but if there's a game on the screen, then there's bets to be placed.
You know, I took the Yankees. They're the hottest team right now, so I took the Yankees. We're going to see where they get me.
Dante Jones is here almost every day.
It's like another job, really. And then it's, you know, another way to make you some money, the legal way.
They can do it legally, and it's regulated, and it's safe, and it's very transparent, and it's fun.
Paul Zach is Ameristar Council Bluffs Vice President and General Manager. He said the sports book has been a pleasant surprise.
It's certainly not worse. It's probably a little bit better than I thought it would be. So, and I think that it's only going to grow as you get deeper into football season.
According to the Iowa Gaming Commission August report, the bettors placed $1.36 million worth of wagers at the casino, with Ameristar paying out $884,000. $32,000 of these are going back to the state in taxes.
I mean, they have some of it earmarked for the general fund, some of it goes to education, some of it goes to responsible gaming. Our partner here is the Iowa West Foundation, so they get a portion of all of our revenues.
One of the biggest draws here is the live betting capabilities, where you don't just bet on the wins and losses, but on everything from runs in an inning to spread over the first parts of a game.
And they're amazing. I mean, the things that you can do at them, folks have picked up on them and line up to use those every day.
And the team people are lining up for the most. That won't surprise you a bit.
Huskers are the biggest college football bet that we have every week. Whether it's to win, lose, cover, whatever it happens to be. There's always more money on Nebraska than anybody else.
Reporting in Council Bluffs, Phil Bergman, 3 News Now.
It's not a fluffy cat. He's Spike with giant quills. Feel him.
On the ground playing with her 9-month-old little girl. Dana Alm is a hands-on mom to Millie, but it's taken a scare, support, and a whole lot of strength to get here.
But at times it wasn't easy. And at times still, I look at her and am mad that, I had to lose that month with her.
In January, when Dana was just 1 month postpartum, she began experiencing strange symptoms.
I know my body. And I know when that numbness took over, there was definitely something wrong. And if I would have ignored that, I don't know if I'd be here today.
Dana, an EMT, had witnessed a stroke in others. Her symptoms were different, still she knew she needed help.
The stress of the stroke caused the heart attack.
At the age of 30, she had had both a stroke and a heart attack.
My gosh, I'm a brand new mom. This can't happen to me. I'm too young. I need to go home and take care of my baby.
A network of family and friends helped care for Millie as Mom relearned how to walk. Millie, or sometimes a doll, took part in rehab sessions to make sure Dana had the balance and function to care for an infant when she got home.
Learning just how to hold the baby or change a diaper, and little things that were so hard at first got easier and easier. Like, I had that moment of weakness and my husband would be like, you have 5 minutes, get it out of your system, and then you get up and you keep going.
This spring, Dana was able to walk a mile at the American Heart Association's Heart Walk. She's undergone tests to figure out what caused her stroke, but with or without those answers, she's grateful.
I'm very, very thankful, and thank God too that I'm here today and be able to be a mom.
Getting care in time has given her so many more moments with the girl she loves.
The end.
The American Heart Association's Go Ride for Women Expo is at the Embassy Suites La Vista on Tuesday, September 24th. KMTV 3 News Now is a proud sponsor, and I'm excited to MC this year.
Favorite color?
White or red? Can't decide between the two. It's going back and forth.
It's too boring.
Honestly, if you're being honest, white. I really like the color white, even though technically it's the absence of color.
What would you rather at Memorial Stadium? A whiteout, a redout, or blackout?
A whiteout.
Okay.
I don't know if we've seen that here, but I would love to see a whiteout here. I think it'd be cool.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
I thought you were going to say white bread.
Probably should be white bread now after the trends we've set.
What's your favorite topping on a pizza?
Italian sausage. A little bit of heat, but not too much.
You feel the heat you get out of the kitchen.
Amen.
Thing you miss most about living in the state of Florida?
The after October break, when it goes from hot to just perfect for 3-4 months at a time.
Not Disney World?
We got to go there once. I mean,
once? I'd go there every day if I lived in Orlando.
It's too expensive for that now. Remember, we're still in college.
Favorite ride at Disney World?
I liked Rock and Roller Coaster. 0 to 60, really fast, right off the bat.
Splash Mountain?
I'm not so much a fan of getting wet.
If you could pick your dream day with Coach Verduzco, what would you do with him?
Something other than football. Honestly, ride roller coasters.
Your uncle's Coach of Scott here in Omaha. Thing about him we don't know.
He does not. Oh, he considers potato chips a vegetable.
Potato chips are.
Yeah, we argue about this every holiday. They are not a vegetable. I don't care what you say.
What are they?
Junk food.
So you're going to wear a hat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
On the sideline. What's the best way to rock the hat?
Forward, just traditional, business as usual.
What about the Scott Frost tilt?
I don't even think he knows that. I think that's just an accident.
You still have animosity towards kids that went to Wahoo High?
I think I always will. Honestly, I don't own a blue shirt. I don't own a blue shirt. I actually own one, but it's Lululemon. That's just because it's really nice and I got it for free.
Good call.
So I don't wear blue.
So Noah, if you were to have an arc and you could only bring 5 Huskers on it, who'd you bring?
Oh, I gotta bring the quarterback room. Those are my guys. There's 6 of us in there. I gotta bring all 5.
What about your O-line?
They can swim.
Hey Noah, thanks so much for joining me. This was
Fill in the Blank.
Nellie Hernandez just started taking college classes this past summer. She says it's been tough financially because she was counting on scholarship dollars that she's yet to receive. Nellie Hernandez teaches classes here every day. Her parents opened this South Omaha business 3 years ago. Earlier this year, Nellie decided she wanted to start college. She planned to use a $3,000 scholarship she earned after winning the National Miss CoverGirl pageant in Las Vegas in 2016.
It was like my motive of participating to win the scholarship money.
Hernandez contacted the national director, Rafaela Gallo, back in February.
That was February 7th to be exact. And then after that, he just opened it and didn't respond for I don't think he was even planning to respond.
She sent him another message in March.
When I saw that he opened it, I was like, if you don't respond to me, I'm gonna go public about this and follow through with the lawsuit.
She posted her story on Facebook and found several girls who competed in the same pageant and didn't receive their money either.
I thought that was really insane that they were doing that to so many girls.
Agallo says the pageant simply ran out of money.
We're borrowing money, personal money, to pay these funds, but the organization doesn't have any money. But that doesn't mean that this is a fraud. We recognize that we have to pay this, and we are facing it. This is just a matter of time. Just like she took 3 years to claim this scholarship, we need time to pay this scholarship.
Hernandez also says the local pageant director told her she had no right to the scholarship because she waited 3 years to go to school. But according to her contract, there isn't a time limit.
I won it like fair and square, and I should have the right to claim something that I won, and that's on a contract.
Agallo says the organization changed its rules in 2017. Now, girls only have 6 months after the day they graduate to claim their scholarship. This year's pageant has since been canceled.
We don't want to take the risk. We just want to pay everything we promised, and that's where
we're
going to finish this.
Agallo says he owes about $15,000 to 5 or 6 former competitors. The pageant, which operates as a 501c3 organization, applied for grants and private funding, which Agallo says it didn't receive. He says all costs came out of pocket.
Our investment was big, so they can get the best experience.
But Nelly says her experience has been tainted. She wants other girls to do their research.
There's pageants that have been going on for decades, and I think that matters a lot, like how much time they have, their winners, see if there's like any bad reviews and stuff like that. So I would just really do my research on the history of the pageant.
Now, Agallo says he's since reached out to Nelly and offered to give her $1,500 up front and the rest next month. As for the rest of the girls, he says he plans to give them their money by the end of October. In studio, Sydney Gray, 3 News Now this morning.
It's one of the biggest shows to hit Broadway in decades, and now Hamilton is here. I got the chance to catch up with some of the show's stars to find out what it's like being such a popular production and what they think of taking the show to Omaha.
Great. We love Omaha. Thank you, Omaha, for being so cute.
So cute.
So cute. Yes.
What makes Omaha so cute?
It's just like, because I'm staying downtown,
Uh-huh.
and so just like the industrial like elements that are like still around from, I'm sure, you know, the beginning of time or whatnot, and then like the new elements. It's like, okay, Omaha. Yeah, real chill, real relaxed.
We do all right.
Yeah, loving it here.
Yeah, I was at your guys' show, gosh, on Tuesday, I think it was.
Okay.
And people were so pumped. They were having, that was my one complaint, is I couldn't hear parts of your performance because everyone just got so excited with you guys.
It's like going to a rock concert.
It really is. Is that everyone's reaction everywhere you go, or is that just an Omaha thing?
Typically, yes, because you know we're on tour, so we're going to cities where people typically aren't able to go to New York to see the show. So we're going to cities where people have been waiting 2 and 3 years to see this for this one night.
That sounds like a lot of pressure.
I think we can't go into it like that. I think we just have to, we realize what that is, but we also realize that I am the Lafayette in Jefferson that the audience sees. So what they get is what I give them, and that's pressure, but that's also knowing that you can inspire somebody, you know, you are the change that they will be able to see, and to maybe inspire that one little black boy or that little black girl in the audience to know that you are represented on stage is the beauty of it all too.
And it's amazing it's taken this long for us to do something like this. Why do you think it's important that Hamilton was so diverse?
Because this is America. Our show, when people come to see our show, we're showing what America is. It's people of all different backgrounds, people of all different races, people of all different colors coming together, showing and building this amazing thing, which is what America is. As people of all different backgrounds came and we built this. This country was built, it was made, and here we are. And so, especially, you know, and I'll just, you know, tread lightly, but now, and we're in such a divisive time. And to be able to take this beautiful story of coming togetherness and showing it to, you know, audiences across the country in a time where now everyone is divided, showing the power of coming together. It's such a beautiful moment. And I believe that everything is as it should be and when it should be. And this show was supposed to be for this time.
Yeah. And even the way, I think, so many amazing things about Hamilton, but even the way we bow together at the end of the show. Leads don't bow with themselves, ensemble doesn't bow with themselves, we all take one company bow, because I believe there's not one person in this show, we all need each other, no one's more important, and I think that's the same thing as America, whether you are the banker, whether you are the CEO of the bank or the janitor, you all need each other to make that corporation run.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we as a country need to get back to, and that's what this show teaches.
Emily Hallam is a frequent visitor to Zorinsky Lake.
I immediately realized that, where I'd placed my bag underneath the seat was no longer there.
During a run a few weeks ago, thieves broke into her Jeep and stole a bag with her wallet inside.
I also had debit cards, flexible spending account card, credit card, so all of that was gone along with my driver's license.
In talking with other people who visit the lake, you realize how common this story is.
My purse, everything within my purse, and unfortunately that was my social security card also. And then I had my school-issued laptop.
Heather Baker also had her purse under a seat when her car was parked at the lake.
They broke the passenger side window, and then they broke the window right beside the driver's seat.
Piles of glass are littered throughout multiple parking lots at Zorinsky, where break-ins seem to be as common as people on the trail. In both Hallam and Baker's situation, their cars were broken into during the middle of the day. As the Omaha Police Department says, thieves know you're leaving stuff behind, and that entices them.
In particular, being at like a recreational area where you're probably not likely to carry your valuables with you, you're gonna think, I need to store those somewhere. If I'm running, I'm not gonna carry a purse or a backpack.
So if you're going to Zorinsky, make sure to lock your car. But with thieves breaking the law, it may not be enough if you have valuables inside, something which Hallam says is valuable advice.
Find a way to leave your valuables at home. If it's something that you can't keep on your body, then leave it at home. Don't put it in your car.
In Omaha, John Madden, 3 News Now.
Senior reporter Jake Wazakowski is live in Pottawattamie County near Honey Creek, where the road looks very different than what we saw earlier this week. Jake?
Yeah, Jenny, we've kind of been using Rosewood Road here as a gauge as to how much the water has come up. To people, if you want to go ahead and pan over, photographer to people who want to go, he's taking a look down there. You can see, we were standing on the corner just a day or two ago, and as you can see, the road closed sign, it was even closed past that since the last flooding. It's been closed for that long. So residents here say it's been a frustrating norm for life for them.
Almost 30 feet.
That Missouri is definitely full of water.
In the moderate flood stage. But people who live and own property in North Pottawattamie County are more than moderately concerned.
It's kind of old hat by now. It's been 6 months, so it's just been another day so far this summer.
Brian Hansen says his land near Honey Creek hasn't been able to grow anything because the high waters have come back for a third time, and some won't go away. He's watched crews do all they can to help.
It's just one of them, what do you do? Yeah, it's coming. They worked like crazy with those excavators and cat here for about, the last 2 weeks. I can't remember what day they worked in, and did the best they could with what they had to work with.
Pottawattamie County Emergency Management said they already had levees they weren't able to fix before this round of flooding. And since the water rose, there's been a break in a berm and in a drainage ditch. The current is close to Interstate 29 north of Council Bluffs. A couple of exit ramps have been closed because of high water, but the interstate remains open.
I think they're doing an excellent job on the Iowa side, keeping their roads open as long as they can. But water, you just got to respect it at all times, because wherever it wants to go, it's going to go, and you better stay away from it.
It's weather, and we haven't been able to do anything about that yet. So.
Hansen says there was snow on the ground when the first flood started in March, and the way things are going, there could be snow on the ground before it leaves.
It takes a long time. It forces in pretty easy, but it goes out pretty slow.
And as mentioned earlier, the river is expected to crest tomorrow. Now, emergency management has told residents around the area to get prepared to evacuate or get stuff out if they have water coming up on their property or feel threatened by this water rising. And we've seen a number of people moving things out of their homes for the second, possibly the third time in the last 6 months. Reporting in Pottawattamie County, Jake Wazakowski, 3 News Now.
Well, back in the day, Scott Frost was also a highly touted recruit. This weekend, the head Husker will be inducted into the Nebraska High School Sports Hall of Fame. Along with his dad, Larry, Scott was a parade All-American quarterback and state champion shot putter at Wood River.
It's special for me that I'm going in with my father. I'm
I'm lucky. I had two unbelievable parents, and they were both great athletes, and so they gave me some pretty good genes. But more than that, what they taught me and poured into me, the characteristics that they made sure that I had, with work ethic and perseverance and all those things, I learned from Dad and Mom. They both spent their life trying to help young people as high school coaches, so it's an honor for me to go in, but it's even more special to go in with Dad.
Scott's mother, Carol, was inducted back in 1996. Saturday's game at Illinois starts at 7 on BTN.
The railroad company said the crossing was so awful that they had to shut it down and fix it for safety reasons. The county said that they told them they couldn't do it right now. Now, some residents say it was long overdue. Others and drivers say it was a headache without any warning. Crews resurfaced the BNSF railroad crossing on 156th Street between Giles and Harrison, and it came without warning. Thousands of motorists forced to find other routes or turn around in the middle of the street starting this morning.
It took me about 45 minutes to get to work rather than 10 or 15 minutes, so it's been a disaster.
Tyler Diaz said he had to find multiple ways to get around the closure to get his kids to daycare and himself to work, and ended up being late. The construction caused major backups on 168th and other roads during the morning commute.
It was frustrating not seeing any type of sign or detour sign or anything like that.
Sarpy County was caught off guard by the closure. They say they denied permission to block the road earlier this week because 156 was a detour route for the Harrison construction, but BNSF did it anyway. The county told them to open the road immediately when sheriff's deputies realized they already cut up the road so it was impassable.
I'd be pretty aggravated since I'm doing construction over here and that's the alternate route. I'd be kind of aggravated.
I use it every day to go to pick my son up from school, and it was it's inconvenient because I got to go all the way around to go pick him up.
BNSF says residents told them it was unsafe and they felt immediate replacement was necessary to ensure the public's safety. Some residents I spoke to off camera said it was real bad. The railroad said they'd have it open by the evening commute. Diaz hopes that's true.
It's been a mess.
And again, as you can see, the road is open again. Crews just left about 20 minutes ago. We saw the final ones taken off here. So again, 156th Street is passable between Giles and Harrison once again. Reporting from 156 in Chandler, Jake Wazakowski, 3 News Now.
It's been a waiting game for many people in this area. We spoke with one man who's been packed up since the March evacuations back when that was going on, and many others who are tired of the impacts this is having on their travels.
It's terrible. I just lost my wife on top of it.
2019 has been a tough year for Ralph Bassano, who lives near Loveland, Iowa.
We lost pictures, all kinds of stuff, so yeah, it's not easy, bud. So.
That was back in March when floodwaters got into his basement. His wife passed away in April, and now in September, he's on evacuation notice again.
Look okay now, but that takes a runoff off the interstate and everything, and it can change in a blink of an eye.
The Missouri River is about a mile from his home, but the water from it is just a few yards away.
There's water all around us. Fields down south are completely full.
And this isn't the first time he's dealt with possible evacuations.
I never unpacked from the last time.
Balsano is frustrated with the newest threat. And for others, they're frustrated with the travel impacts.
I had to go an alternate route, which we've done this many times before.
Christine Michael, who's from Logan and was traveling to Council Bluffs, couldn't go her normal route of I-29.
Just the traffic is slow, 40 mile an hour all the way to Council Bluffs, the hills, and you can't pass.
Michael's home isn't threatened, but she's seen the impacts this new round of flooding is causing.
There are people who just got drywalled and just starting to move back in, and they're having to get out, and it'll probably ruin everything again.
One of those people may be Balsano, who's grown tired of possibly having to leave every few months.
Going through it once, twice, 3 times is ludicrous.
Something important to keep in mind, GPS and phone navigation systems tend to be inaccurate during these types of events, so be sure to follow the Iowa 511 app, the Iowa 511 website, and our website, 3newsnow.com, for the latest on those road closures and conditions. In Iowa, John Madden, 3 News Now.
Thanks, John. The Nebraska Department of Transportation wants drivers to be aware the flood closure may mean extra traffic on some more rural routes. They tweeted, "Heads up, North Omaha area and Blair commuters. This closure of I-29 in Iowa may cause increased traffic on highways 30, 75, and 133. Plan ahead and leave extra time."
As his contribution to all involved is sincerely appreciated.
Pedro Gonzalez Harado had no idea a week ago he'd be standing here holding a public service award from the Nebraska State Patrol. He and a co-worker were just on their way home when they decided to stop at the Greenwood exit off of I-80. That's when Pedro noticed something.
I turn around and I see somebody on the middle position on the top of the barrier. And then I go and I told my friend, hey, stop, somebody wants to jump on the bridge. And he's like, what? And then he turned back and she was there.
A distraught woman looking to end her life. Pedro and his coworker tried to help.
We tried to give her money, a cell phone, and then she just didn't wanted anything. She just wanted to jump.
After a call to 911, help arrives. As you can see in this dash cam video, Sergeant David Ramsey tried to talk her down.
I wanted her to come towards me, and so I get out and was like, hey, I can't hear you. Can you come towards me? Just hoping she would come towards me.
But she turned around, and then that's when I grabbed her by the grabbed her by the hand and dragged her on the floor.
Exhausted from the rush of adrenaline, Pedro drops to the ground. He knew how close this was.
That ledge is only, 18 inches or so wide, and as windy as it is in Nebraska, even if she didn't mean to jump at that moment, the wind could have blown her off, or maybe she missteps and then falls that way. But fortunately, that's not what happened, and Pedro was there to help her out.
And while Pedro is honored for being a hero, he says anyone could have done what he did.
And then we all can do good, and we can all stop by and check on somebody.
The Nebraska State Patrol urges anyone who needs help to call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at the number on the bottom of your screen.
Stay connected at 3newsnow.com.